Welcome back to the Beyond Woman Conversations Podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Johnson, founder of The Beyond Woman. And this is the space where we talk real, rise higher, and reclaim what's always been ours. Today's episode is titled How Social Conditioning Keeps Women Playing Small and How to Break Free. Perhaps you've been questioning yourself lately, wondering why you still hesitate, why you still shrink in certain spaces, or why you feel like you have to ask permission to dream bigger. If that's you, know this: you're not alone, and you're not imagining it. We're pulling back the curtain on what's really been keeping so many of us small and how we can finally begin to break free. This conversation is one that's necessary, especially as we begin to rise above the limitations that were never meant to define us. It's for the woman who's feeling the nudge to take up more space, who's tired of shrinking in rooms she was born to lead, and who's finally ready to question the quiet rules she was taught to follow. Today's episode is brought to you by The Beyond Woman magazine. Are you a woman in business who is ready to be seen, celebrated, and taken seriously? Then this is your moment. The Beyond Woman magazine is now accepting feature submissions, and we're looking for Caribbean women entrepreneurs, creators, and change makers who are ready to tell their story and inspire the next generation. This is more than just exposure. It's visibility with purpose. It's credibility in a regional woman-led platform. It's your chance to say, I was bold enough to show up. Whether you're a founder, coach, creative, or rising powerhouse, your journey deserves to be seen. Spots are limited. Apply to be featured now at TheBeyondWoman Magazine@gmail.com or DM us right here on IG at The Beyond Woman Magazine for more information. Because we don't just empower women, we equip them to rise. Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Beyond Woman Conversations, the space where we get real about the things that keep us stuck and, more importantly, how we break free. So let's start with a truth bomb. Do you know that your playing small does not serve the world? There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. Does that sound familiar? Well, it is from the poem by Marianne Williamson. And that quote hits me in my chest every single time, because when I look around, especially at the women I know, the women that I interact with, the women that I love, I see brilliance and I see creativity and I see power that's really being dimmed by fear. And not because we lack ability, but because we've been taught to make ourselves smaller. Can anyone identify? Do I hear a few yeses? So here's the kicker. A 2022 World Bank report revealed that Caribbean women are more educated than men on average. But we're still significantly underrepresented in leadership roles and high-earning entrepreneurial spaces. So it is quite clear that talent isn't really an issue. It's not about the skill, it's not about our education, or even, what we want to talk about, access. It's not about that anymore. But I believe that something else is going on, and something that is deeper. And that's what we're digging into today. How does social conditioning affect our ability to play big, but instead has taught us to play small? And how can we begin to break free? Today, I'm having a conversation that needs to be had. How social conditioning affects us as Caribbean women. And I'm not talking just about the career moves or the business ventures. I'm talking about how we show up in every room that we walk into. I'm talking about every dream we think about and every version of ourselves that we're scared to step into. Isn't that the usual conversation, the recurring conversation that we're having? We want that conversation to end. We want for us as Caribbean women to walk boldly in spaces because we deserve to be in every space that our feet carries us. So let's be honest, most of us were raised to survive and not necessarily to thrive. Maybe to make do, but not to overflow. Think about it. To be good girls, but not bold women. And before we get into the deep stuff, I want to be clear, this is not about blaming our families or our culture. This is about us just becoming conscious. Because guess what? If we don't name it, we can't change it. Social conditioning is that quiet, persistent programming we've absorbed since we were little girls. We were taught to keep our voices low, cross our legs, smile even when we were uncomfortable, and never ever come off too proud. Don't believe me? Think about the phrases that we've grown up hearing. Don't be too forward. Stay humble. Don't act like you're better than anyone. Wait until you're married to do that. Stop drawing attention to yourself. And those phrases shape our entire self-image because what they do is that they teach us to downplay our brilliance, our intelligence. They teach us to apologize for taking up space. They teach us to stay in roles that are safe and suffocating. I want to pause here and ask, when was the first time you remember shrinking yourself? Maybe it was in school when you knew the answer but didn't raise your hand. Maybe it was when you got praised for being quiet while someone else got labeled too talkative. Maybe it's when you heard that you were being too much, so much so that you start to believe it. I remember a moment years ago when I had my business idea. I was excited about it. I wrote the plan. I did the research. I mapped it out as properly as I could. But when it came time to sharing it with others, I caught myself, saying things like, it's just a little something I'm trying. But the thing is, why just? Why little? Seriously, why those words? Why do we feel the need to water down our brilliance so that it feels more digestible? Can anyone raise their hands? Anyone have the answer to that? It's simply because we were conditioned to. And guess what, my sisters, my Caribbean sisters, it stops now, right at this moment. Because I want to share with you in this section the cost of playing small. What does it look like? What does it actually cost us when we keep living like that? Because playing small isn't just an inconvenience. What it is really a form of self-betrayal. You know you're capable of more, but then you talk yourself out of it. You know you should be charging more for your products and your services, but you're afraid people won't book. I'll be the first person to hold my hand up. It is such a struggle for us as Caribbean women. I've heard it. Well, I hear it all the time. You've outgrown the job or the relationship or just the environment itself, but you tell yourself to be grateful and stay put. And here is how playing small can show up in our lives. It is when we don't apply for, if you're a career woman, it is when you don't apply for a leadership role because you think someone else is more qualified. We do that. And even though you have done the work for many years, you still discount yourself. You still question yourself. I said it before. It shows up when we refuse to charge our worth because people in my country don't pay for that. Once again, I can lift my hand. Playing small can look like when we stay in relationships where our emotional needs are invisible because we are taught that at least the man is trying, or you should be lucky that he's in your life, that he's here around you. And the worst part is that we begin to normalize it. We call it maturity. We call it humility. We say things like, I don't need much. I don't like the spotlight. I'm just focused on helping others. Let's talk about it, man. Let's get real. Yes, you're a woman who focuses on being a servant at heart, You're generous, but hear me when I say you can be humble and still take up space. You can be kind and still speak boldly. You can be soft and still stand firm. So here's a story that someone told me a couple of years back. She once worked with a woman who had what we would call an incredible brand. We won't say the name. Wonderful products, gorgeous products, Authentic story, a woman who is authentic to the core. She had a loyal audience, but she kept herself at a certain income bracket for years. And why? Because she said she didn't want to come off as greedy. But when we dug deeper, she realized that she had internalized a belief from childhood. Women who made too much money weren't good women. They were selfish, they were materialistic, they were dangerous. Honestly, I can't identify with this story, but let's take it for what it is. We had to do the work to separate her purpose from that false belief. That is when I got to know her and we had the conversation. In no time, her income tripled. Not because she suddenly got better, but because she finally gave herself permission to want more. So I ask you, what have you been talking yourself out of lately? Whose voice do you still hear when you're about to get to a higher level of yourself? What are you afraid people will say if you truly stepped into your next level? And I want to say, let those questions sit with you because they hold the key to what is keeping you stuck. Now let's shift gear a little bit and talk about breaking this pattern, like, the lady in the story we spoke about earlier. Breaking the pattern and reclaiming your power. Ladies, once we realize we've been conditioned to play small, the next step for us is to rewrite the script. It's as simple as that. I'm a practical woman, and it is as simple as that. It doesn't mean that everything changes overnight, but what it means is that you begin to take small, intentional moves. And the first thing that you need to focus on is awareness, right? You start noticing when the old script, the old narrative shows up. When you hesitate to post your win. Listen, everybody wants to hear. We want to celebrate with you, right? So awareness involves noticing when you hesitate to post your win, when you minimize your dream. Also, when you over-explain yourself because you're scared of being misunderstood, let them misunderstand you. So we're going to catch it, we're going to name it, but we're not going to judge it, right? And here is how we reframe all of what we spoke about just now, the old script. We're going to change from, I don't want to seem full of myself, to it's safe to celebrate myself, because it is. You're going to change this narrative. I'm not ready. And you're going to say instead, I'm ready enough to begin. We're going to change what if I fail to what if this changes everything? And then we're going to take the action, right? Yes, we're going to take the action. We're going to say yes to the speaking opportunity. We're going to raise our rates. We're going to go live on IG. We're going to send the pitch. We're going to post the story. The point is that when you take one bold action every day, doesn't matter how small it might be, because boldness is like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets. So take the action. Take the action. Let's talk a little bit about confidence. And this is a topic that I love. Confidence is not a personality trait. A lot of us believe that we wake up or we were born with confidence. Maybe some persons are, but understand that it is not a personality trait, but it's a practice, something that we have to put into action. And we build it in private before it shows up in public. And we start with self-affirmation that's rooted in the truth of who we are, not the fluff, right? You say things like, I'm capable of hard things. I'm learning to trust myself. I am allowed to be seen. And then get yourself a circle of women who aren't just clapping for you, but they are challenging you to go to the higher place, to go to the higher level of who you are. And that is the power of community. Here's a networking tip. Start with connection. Okay? Start with connection, not perfection. You don't need a polished pitch. You just need a real story, an authentic story. Listen, I don't know, but if you're in the right space, when you share your vision, it's not a matter of you bothering people, but what it is that you're inviting them into the vision with you. And don't forget the power of mentorship and sponsorship. A mentor gives you wisdom and a sponsor gives you access. You will need both. So find the people who will mention your name in rooms you haven't even entered. It's not a cliche. It's a fact. Find those people who are ready to cheer you on, who are ready to support you. And listen, when you get the mic, mention somebody else's name. Let that just have a rippling effect. So I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. It is time for you to take up space. The truth is, we're the first generation of women in our bloodline with this level of access, visibility, and opportunity. And yet, many of us, we still want to stay stuck behind the curtain, waiting for someone to say, go ahead, you are allowed. All right, fine. Let this be your permission slip. You don't have to ask to be great. You don't have to explain the fire that is within you. You don't have to water yourself down to be accepted. You can be both grounded and powerful, soft and unstoppable, quiet and clear. Take up space. Here's your challenge for the week. Do one bold, self-affirming thing. Something that breaks the old script. Remember we talked about the old script? Do something that breaks that script, yet honors the woman that you are becoming. Like I said before, pitch the collaboration, call up a sister. There are so many people who are willing to join hands with you, hands and heart with you to make your dream come true. So reach out to someone. You don't have to know the person either, but what if that person really speaks your language? Pitch the collaboration to that woman. You might just be surprised. Record the video. Say whatever is on your mind. Say what is in your heart. Ask for the money. These are all the challenges that I have for you. Take the photo and post it without even second guessing yourself. And when the old script comes up, the old thoughts, like what will people say? Who do you think you are? answer all of that with this. I am a woman that is finally walking in my truth, and I'm not playing small anymore. Listen, ladies, you were never meant to be invisible. You were never created to be quiet. You were never called to shrink. The world needs what you carry, and it is time that you begin to believe that. So I hope that this short conversation has impacted you in a way that will allow you to rise above yourself, to stop thinking the old script, reframe your thoughts and begin to think bold. Begin to climb those mountains, however that looks like, one step at a time. I want you to choose to rise even when it's uncomfortable. Choose to rise even when it is uncomfortable. I know it goes against who we are innately, but the beauty about growing is that we become more aware of the things that are holding us back because we know. That is why we're so conflicted on the inside, because we know that we're shrinking. We know that we're allowing social conditioning to affect our greatness and our boldness to speak out and to speak up in spaces that are waiting for us. We cannot allow social conditioning to keep us playing small. We have to break free. We have to become the woman of worth. We have to become the woman who is on fire, who wants to set this world on fire. We have to become the successful entrepreneur, the amazing leader that is so impactful. We have to. The future is ours to take. And so I encourage all of us to just stay powerful, stay present, and just rise. And that brings us to the end of another powerful episode of the Beyond Woman podcast. I hope you're leaving feeling inspired and ready to take action on your dreams. Remember, you are capable of so much more than you think. Keep pushing those boundaries, keep learning, and keep believing in your limitless potential. We want to stay connected with you, so be sure to follow us on social media at the Beyond Woman magazine for daily inspiration, behind the scenes content, and to join our growing community of empowered women. Don't forget to visit our website at www.thebeyondwomanmag.com and www.thebeyondwoman.com, where you'll find even more resources and articles and also opportunities to connect. Sign up for our newsletter and be the first to know about upcoming events and exclusive content. To all my incredible Caribbean sisters out there, let's lift each other up. Share this episode with the women in your life who need to hear this message so we can continue to build this powerful network together. Enjoy this episode? Then think about leaving us a review on your favorite podcast app. Your support helps us to reach more women. Thank you for being a part of the Beyond Woman movement. Keep shining, keep growing, and keep living your most extraordinary life.